Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Can you hear me? Please confirm in the chat box as usual. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your responses. Okay, so let's stop the chat so that we can focus on the training. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Okay. The most important point what we have discussed in the last session is understanding the file permissions, and then we also know how can we change the permissions given to a specific file using alphabetical notation as well as numerical notation. Okay. This is our plan for our today's session, understanding the pipe command in Linux. Most important, what is apt repository? apt repository is something related to package management. How can we install the packages from the apt repository, which is very important? Working with vEditor. One of the participants asked us the question, how can we edit the file? We need an editor in Linux. We have many editors. vEditor is a popular one. So we also learn how can we edit the files using vEditor. With this, we'll be completing Linux part. And then we'll be jumping into the first tool of Git, that first tool of DevOps that's called as Git. So this is our agenda for today's session. Let's move on. I already have connected to AWS account. My machine is already running. Let's connect. As usual, using the terminal. I hope you know the terminal what we use. You're right, the terminal is git bash. So this is the PEM file which I have saved in this particular location. I open the git bash from the location and I use SSH command. I hope you know how to connect. Are you sure you want to connect? Yes, we are connected. Clear? Okay. We have discussed about $prompt. We have discussed about root prompt. We have discussed about sudo keyword. All these are very important in the last class. In today's session, we'll be learning most important point is package management, and then vEditor. With that, we'll be completing the Linux part. Okay. As usual, before jumping into the classes, let's have quick discussion, starting with Amir. Good evening. How are you doing, Amir? You are allowed to unmute.
Hello, good evening, sir.
How are you doing, Amir?
I am good, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How was your weekend?
Yeah, it's well, sir.
Okay. Yes, your question, please.
While creating AWS, I have created all the format, mail and password, sir.
You're talking
Uh,
about creating a new AWS account.
yes, sir.
Okay.
After creating, in the third step, I am getting there is international transaction. You asked, no, sir.
Your debit card should be enabled for international transactions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's also enabled for international transactions, sir. Still, it's saying you can't create an account, sir.
No, you will. Is it a RuPay card?
It's a Andhra Bank, sir. Andhra Bank.
Type of the card, there will be Visa card or MasterCard or RuPay card. I think it is a RuPay card.
No, sir. It's
Please check.
one yes, sir. Okay.
RuPay card, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
RuPay cards are not accepted. Please use other card. Okay, need not be your card. Anybody's card also, you can link it to your AWS account. Okay, Amir?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I have mentioned this point. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Nandakishore, how are you doing?
Yeah, good evening, Sunil. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Yes, your question.
Yeah, previously we have discussed regarding file permissions.
Yes.
Yeah, what was the best way? I mean, in order to use that, I mean, it's for symbolic or I mean alphabetic mode.
Your point is which is the best way to change the file permissions? Do we use numerical notation or should we use alphabetical notation?
In real
It's up
time.
to whichever you feel comfortable. Finally, what we should do is to able to change the permissions. Whichever you feel comfortable, just change it.
And one more thing. I mean, whatever the process we are discussing, is it equal to real time? I mean, well, comparing to in companies, they use different process. No, that's why I'm
Process in
asking.
the sense you're talking about tools.
Yeah, tools.
These are the top tools which we have designed as per the course
Okay.
content. Okay.
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 Whatever
Yes.
we are discussing in this class, this is the same process we have to follow in the.
Whatever the tools what we'll be discussing is from the real-time scenarios point of view. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
Sunil. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so before moving on, one more question. Kumar Raja,
Hi, Sunil.
how are you doing?
I'm good, Sunil. How are you?
Doing well, yes, thank you. Your question.
In previous session I asked it, but I didn't able to connect. Sorry. So my question is about ls hyphen l and hyphen lt. I didn't able to find the difference. Can you please suggest?
LT stands for as per the timestamp.
Okay.
Okay, both are the same. You just use hyphen LT or L. L will show you list of all the files with more information, not as per the timestamp. If you want as per the timestamp, you use ls hyphen LT or T also. It's okay. Both will be the same. Both are the same result. Okay, Kumar, there will be no difference.
If I use hyphen at, does it produce something like time with timestamp all the files?
Why don't you try? You'll get
Yeah.
you'll understand it. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raja. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. We already have connected to Linux machine. So this is our notes for today's session. Okay. To understand about the pipe command in Linux, I want to create a file. We already know ls2c list of all the files. Okay, these are some set of files what we have. I want to create a file with the name f10. I want to create a file with the name f10 and I want that file to be a 10 lines content. Okay, I want to create a file and I want to write some 10 lines of content into that particular file. So let's experience it. Look at this. Cat followed with greater than, mention the file name which you want to create. I want to create a file with the name f10. File got created. My control entered into the file. Look at the content in the file. Line 1. Done. I have created a file. What's the name of the file? The name of the file is f10. I want to see the contents present in the file. Cat followed with the file name f10. You can see my file is having 10 lines of content. Okay, my file is having a 10 lines of content. It can be 10 lines of content or 20 lines of content, doesn't matter. My plan is I want to display only first 5 lines of the file. I want to display top 5 lines. A file may have 100 lines of content. I want to display only first 5 lines. Head is a command. You can see in the background, there's a notes. Head is a command which helps you to see the top 5 lines. For example, head hyphen number of lines you want to see. I want to see the first 5 lines from the file f10. Mention the file name. This will give you only first 5 lines. A file may have 100 lines of content. You don't want to read all the 100 lines of content. You want to display only first 5 lines. You want to display only first 10 lines. So head command will show you the first 10 number of lines. Similarly, if you have a head command, you also have a tail command. We also have a tail command. You can easily guess what tail command will do. If I want to see last 3 lines of the file, if I want to display last 3 lines, we have a command called tail, followed with how many lines of content you want. I want last 3 lines from which file? F10. Are you getting the last 3 lines? So head is used to display first 10 number of lines and tail is used to display last 10 number of lines. I hope you are very clear in understanding what is the purpose of the head command and what is the purpose of the tail command. Okay, now I want to display only 5th line. I want to display only 5th line, not first 5 lines. I want to display 5th line, only 5th line. So in such cases, so you need to use combination of commands. So if I write this command, head -5 followed with the file F10 will display first 5 lines. Agree? Will display first 5 lines. From this first 5 lines, I want the last line. From this result, I want the last line. So whenever you want last line, we should use tail command, right? So here you need to use two commands. First is a head command, which will pick up the first 5 lines. On this result, tail command will work. So whenever you want multiple commands to be executed, the pipe is used in the Linux to use 2 or more commands, such that the output of the first command will be input to the second command. Individually look at the first command. Individually look at the first command. The first command will display first 5 lines. You can visualize this is the first 5 lines. And this will be the input to the second command. Second command is tail. The tail command will work on this result. There is no file. I have not mentioned any file name for the tail command. I have mentioned only file name for the head command. There is no file name here followed the tail command. So tail command will act on the result of the first command. This is the result of the first command, and tail command will act on this particular result, and tail will -1 will show you the last line, isn't it? Look at this. Are you able to get the 5th line? Oh, so not F2. What's the file name? In our case, it is F10. Are you able to get the 5th line? Clear? So look at this. Whenever you want to execute multiple commands, you want to execute first command, the result of the first command should be the input to second command. In such cases, we use a pipe. You can see here, you are able to get the 5th line. I want 4th and 5th line. What is the command? I want 4th and 5th line. Pipe, tail, -2. I am getting 4th and 5th line. Somewhere in between, you are able to get the 4th and 5th line. Are you understanding? First, this command gets executed. Head command gets executed. This is the result, and tail command will execute on the result of the head command, and you can see it will give you the last 2 lines. Clear? So the pipe command is able. We should use it to run multiple commands. Remember, the first command gets executed, and the second command will execute on the result of the first command. So that you keep in mind. Okay, I want to show you one more command. I want to look at the contents in the file F1. I want to look at the contents cat F1. Okay, if the file F1 is having no permissions, okay, no problem. Cat F10. I want to show you a command called WC, stands for word count. Word count followed with F10. Look at the result of this word count. Okay, the word count will show you number of words, number of lines, and number of characters. So word count will show you number of words present in the file, number of lines present in the file, and number of characters present in the file. All this you'll get it in the word count. Okay, if you see word count -L followed with F10 will show you only lines. Your file is having how many lines of content? 10 lines of content. Are you understanding? Word count will show you number of lines in the particular file. Clear? So let's look at one more file. Let's say we have a file called F6. Oh, we don't have any permissions. F6 is the owner is not having any permissions. Okay. So how to give the permissions? Change mode. All permissions for the file F1. Look at the content in the file F1. This is 3 lines of content. WC followed with F1. Now you'll understand the output. The word count command will give you this result. Okay, the word count will act on this particular file. 3 refers to number of lines present in the file. 3 lines. 7 refers to number of words present in the file. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words. 42 refers to number of characters. Word count will not, command is word count, but it will show you number of lines present in the file, number of words present in the file, number of characters present in the file. 3, 7, 42. This is the result. Clear? Clear about this word count? So if you use word count hyphen L, will show you only lines. Word count hyphen W will show you only words. Word count hyphen C followed with F1 will show you only characters. 3 lines, 7 words, 42 characters. If you don't use any option, it will show you complete words, lines, and characters. Clear about this? Okay. Now I want to show you why I'm discussing about this word count, because I want to show you one more example of pipe, how to use pipe symbol. We already have discussed this command called date. Will print you the current date. Okay. Look at the result of this date pipe word count hyphen L. Date is one command, word count is one command. First, what will be executed? Date will be executed. This is the result. And then second command will be executed. Second command is word count hyphen L will show you the number of lines on this particular result. How many lines we are having in this result? Only one line. So whenever you want to run multiple commands and you want to execute the first command, the input of the first command, the output of the first command should be provided as an input to second command. In that case, we use pipe. Okay, we have one more command called cal, which will show you the calendar. You want to know how many lines of output this calendar is giving us. First calendar, pipe, word count hyphen L. First calendar command gets executed. This is the result, and word count will act on this particular result and will print you number of lines. So the calendar command is giving us 8 lines of input. So I hope you are very clear. So pipe is used. I hope it is very clear. Pipe is used to execute multiple commands. Always the first command. Execution starts from first command. The first command gets executed. The result of the first command will pass to the input second command. So that's how the pipe command is frequently used in Linux. So we have discussed about the pipe command in Linux. We have discussed about pipe command in Linux. Let's move on. Most important, package management. Let's move on to understand the most important point, package management. What is package management? Let's try to understand. What is package management? Let's try to understand. Look at this. I want to create a directory. Let's remove the directory. I want to create a directory D1. Inside D1, I want to create D2. Inside D2, I want to create D3. Inside D3, I want to create a directory D4. This is what I want to create, directory structure. D1, D2, inside D2, D3, inside D3, D4. You may have a question, Sunil. We already have discussed this point. Yes. In the day one, when we're learning about how to navigate between the directories, we have seen this structure, how to create a structure, how to create nested directories. We already have seen that. That there is something important to learn in this example now. Let's first complete the directory structure. I hope we already know it. First, I'm creating a directory D1. I enter into directory D1. I create second directory D2. And I enter into second directory D3. I enter into D3. D4. I enter into D4. Let's complete this set of commands. Let's complete this set of commands. Let's complete the directory structure. Okay. Let's do this. mkdir directory 1 created, entering into the first directory. Second directory got created, enter into second directory. Third directory got created, enter into third directory. Fourth directory, enter into the fourth directory. If you want to see the current path, where are you pointing to? PWD stands for print working directory. Now you can see the directory structure as expected. D1. Inside D1, you have created D2. Inside D2, you have created D3. Inside D3, it is very D4. It's pretty simple. There's nothing new to learn in this example. We already have learned this. I want to go back to /home/Ubuntu. That's my home location, right? By default, I'm pointing to that location. I want to go back to /home/Ubuntu. So CD, we know that. Right now. Okay. Yes. ls, you can see D1. Inside D1, what you have? D2. Inside D2, you have D3. Inside D3, you have D4. Fine. Okay. Now you have created the directory structure. Now, listen here carefully. The most important point. The directory structure is ready. Okay, fine. Now my point is, I want to look at the hierarchical structure of the directories. Listen to my statement. I want to look at the hierarchical structure of the directories. What does that mean? D1. Inside D1, how many directories are there? Inside let's say inside D1 we have D2. Inside D2 we have D3. Inside D3 we have D4. This kind of hierarchical structure we can see in Linux by using a command called tree command. There is a tree command in Linux, friends. We have a tree command in Linux which will show you the tree structure. Tree structure is nothing but the nested directories. Each directory is having how many nested directories. That nested directory is having any other nested directories. This kind of hierarchy structure is clearly displayed in Linux by using a command called tree command. I want to look at the hierarchy structure of the directory D1. I want to look at the hierarchical structure of the directory D1. I want to look at the hierarchical structure. There's a command in tree. They have command in Linux. That's a tree command. Look at the result of this tree command. Tree followed with the hierarchical structure D1, which will show you the tree structure. Interestingly, look at the result of this command. Tree command not found. This is the first time, right? Look at the result. Tree command is not found. What does that mean? You're not getting any error. It's not syntax error. The command is not found, but can be installed. That's interesting. Try to understand the concept. This means when you install Linux, you will not get all the commands. ls is one command, mkdir is one command, touch is one command, cat is one command, copy is one command, cd is one command, whoami is one command. This is a set of commands. You are getting it, but there are some commands which you will not get it by default. Example, tree is a command which is not there in our operating system. Some commands you get it when you install operating system. Some commands you will not get it. If you are running a particular command, if you're getting this kind of information saying that the command not found, that means you should be in a position to install that. You have to install that command. Are you understanding? Are you understanding? Tree command not found. You have to install it. Okay. Now listen to my statement. Tree is the name of the command. Agree? Tree is a command which is present in tree package. Tree is a command present in which package? Tree package. If you look at the documentation, you understand that which command is present in which package. Tree is a command which is present in the tree package. So if you want to run the tree command, what you need to do? You need to install which package, friends? You need to install which package? Tree package you need to install. If you want to run the tree command is present in the tree package. That means you should install the tree package. Obvious next question. Sunil, how to install the package? This is our context, right? How to install the tree package. If it is a Windows laptop, if you want to install anything, if you want to install WinZip, WinRAR, if you want to install any Notepad++, what you'll do? Friends, in case of Windows environment, if you want to install any software, what do? You open Google, search for the right software, you download it. Agree? If you want to install Mozilla, if you want to install VMware, if you want to install whatever the software, Acrobat Reader, whatever you want to install, what you'll do, you search for the required software in the Google and you now downloaded the exe file and you run it. That's in Windows. Coming to Linux, how can we install the packages? Now your plan is to install the tree package. Yes, friends, how can we install the tree package? Okay, that is, there comes the need for a repository. You have to understand the term called repository. The Linux community is maintaining a repository. Linux community is maintaining a repository. Visualize repository is a very big warehouse, which is having thousands and millions of packages. Linux community is maintaining a repository. Okay, repository, visualize a repository is a very big warehouse which is having thousands of packages. So whatever the package you want to install, in our case, what package you want to install, friends? In our case, what package you want to install? You want to install tree package. If you want to install the tree package, you need to install it from the repository. Any package, not only tree package, it could be any package in Linux. When I say package, it's nothing but a software. In Linux, the term package refers to software. It can be a small software like tree, it can be a very big software called Tomcat, whatever it is. Anything which you want to install, any software in Linux terminology, it's called as a package. If you want to install a tree package, where should we install? You have to install it from the repository. What's the name of the repository? The name of the repository is apt repository. The name of the repository is apt repository. Now you got the solution. But if you want to install tree package, you have to install it from where? From the apt repository. What is apt? apt is the name of the repository. Got it? So now you know whenever you want to install any package, you need to install it from the repositories. What's the name of the repository? apt repository. Now I'll show you how to install the package from the apt repository. Whenever you want to install the package from the repository, listen here, friends. Whenever you want to install the package from the repository, it's a two-step process. It's a two-step process. Step one, update the repository first. Okay. Whenever you want to install a package, in our case, we consider an example of tree pack. Understand the concept with respect to tree package. Then we implement it as per the DevOps tools requirement. But the point is, you want to install the tree package. Now you know that you have to install the tree package from the apt repository. And whenever you want to install the package from the apt repository, you have to follow a two-step process. Step one, what you need to do, update the repository. Okay. Next, step two, what you need to do, install the required package. This is the two-step process. Why do you need to update the repository? Whenever you want to install the packages, you want the latest version of the package. It's always good practice to install to get the latest version of the package. When can you get the latest versions of the package? Only when you update the repository. So that's the reason it's a good practice whenever in the industry, if anybody is installing a package, they follow a two-step process. Step one, update the repository. Step two, install the required package. Hopefully, okay, you may have a question, Sunil. Yes, now you got to know that how process of installing the package. Now tell me how to update the repository and how to install the packages. Here is the syntax. Look at this. apt repository is a collection of packages. It's a very big warehouse collection of packages. apt repository allows you to perform package management like installing the packages, removing the packages, upgrading the individual package. All this you have to do it from the apt repository. Now, if you want to install the package, this is the command apt install package name. But I said it's a two-step process. First, update the repository. This is the command. apt-get update is a command. What this command will do first? What this command will do? This command will update the repository. First, update it. Once the updating repository is there, then this is the command to install the required package. This is the syntax to install the required package. Let's experience it. First, let's update the repository. This is the command to update the repository. Once updating the repository, then this is the command you need to run to install the required package. In our case, what is the required package? In our example, sudo apt-install followed the package name. What's our package name? Our package name is tree. So let's experience it. Now I am updating the repository. Experience the repository updation. Yes, repository is updated. This is the command to install the tree package. Now tree package is getting installed, friends. Done, it is installed. I have shown you how to install the required packages. As now tree package is ready. Now if you want to see the hierarchical structure, look at this. What is the command which was not working previously? Tree followed with the D1. This was command which has given an error. Do you remember? Command not found. No, same command now I'll execute. Tree followed with the, I want to look at the hierarchical structure of the directory D1. Are you able to get the hierarchical structure, friends? Yes, you are able to get it. Last time what happened? Do you remember? Do you remember? I think it has cleared it. What was the result? Last time it was tree command not found but can be installed was the result. Now are you able to find the command? Yes. Now you are in a position to install the required package. Now you are in a position to install the required package. Now you know what are the steps to be followed to install the required package. Any package whichever you want to install. Package is nothing but software. In Linux, package is nothing but software. The right term you need to use in Linux is package. Any package which you want to install in Linux, you have to follow a two-step process. Sunil, what is the two-step process? You have to update the repository. What is repository? Repository is nothing but a warehouse of packages. Linux community is maintaining the repository. What's the name of the repository? The name of the repository is apt repository. This is the apt repository. In case of Ubuntu flavor, it is called as apt repository. In case of Red Hat flavors of Linux, you have yum repository. The repository name changes with respect to Debian and non-Debian flavors of Linux, but the concept is the same. The concept is the same. I hope I have shown you. I hope I'm very clear. I hope I'm very clear in showing you how to perform package. You are in a position to install the required package if the command is not found. Clear? Clear about this? Perfect. Perfect. Where are we standing? Okay. So we have learned what is apt repository. Repository is nothing but a warehouse of package. You also know the process of installing the package. It's a two-step process. Don't directly install it. You have to update the repository and install it. Clear? Clear about this. Before moving on to VI editor, let's have quick questionnaire. This time it's Rahula Srinu. How are you doing, Rahula? You are allowed to unmute yourself. We can see your hand raise. Any question? Okay. Vikas R.
Hi, Sunil.
Good evening, Vikas. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I have a question regarding the APT repository.
Yes.
Back in the AWS, we did talk about the yum repository, right?
Yes, because it was AWS Linux, Amazon Linux. Okay. Because it was Amazon Linux as well as Red Hat Linux uses yum repository. Okay. This is what flavor? This is Ubuntu flavor of Linux. Okay. So because what I have created this EC2 machine is Ubuntu operating system. So for Ubuntu operating system, it is apt repository. The name of the repository changes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you, Vikas. Okay. Next. Editor. We know how to create files. You know how to see list of all the files. How you know how to display the content in the file. See, cat followed with F1. You can see the content. So there's a spelling mistake here. Welcome to DevOps. There's an additional T here. I want to edit the file. Whenever you want to edit the file, understand you need an editor. The name of the editor is VI. Stands for visual editor. So VI mentioned the file name which you want to edit. In my case, the file name which I want to edit is F1. This is what I want to edit. I want to remove that additional T. So whenever you want to edit the files, you have to use an editor. Here, the Linux popular editor is VI editor. Look at this. VI followed with F1. The file gets opened, no doubt. The file gets opened. The file gets opened in command mode. In VI editor, there are two modes. There are two modes. In VI editor, there are two modes. One is command mode. Okay. The other one is insert mode. The default mode is command mode. This is the default mode. Whenever you open a file, the file gets opened in the command mode. In the command mode, you cannot make any changes. In the command mode, only commands will work. Obviously, your next question will be, Sunil, what commands it will work? I'll show you what commands will work. But try to understand that VI editor is having two modes. Command mode and insert mode. In command mode, you cannot change the contents in the file. If you want to change the contents into the file, you need to go to insert mode. How to go to insert mode? You need an insert key. In your keyboard, you have an insert key, right? Press insert key to go to insert mode. In the insert mode, you can keep your cursor. You can go to cursor any location. You can make some changes. Once you make some changes, you should come back to command mode. After making changes, you can come back to command mode, and escape is the key which helps you to come back to command mode. By default, it is open in the command mode. You have to go to insert mode because you want to make some changes. You go to insert mode. How can you go to insert mode? I have shown you how to go to insert mode. Using the insert key, it will go to insert mode. In the insert mode, you change required changes and use escape key to come back to. Escape key is used to back to which mode? Escape key is used to come back to command mode. Once you make some changes, once you're back to command mode, :WQ to save and quit. Q stands for quitting, W stands for save and quit. W stands for save, Q stands for quit. This is the follow. This is the process. Let's experience it. This is the process. Let's experience it. I open the file. This is which mode? You don't need to doubt, it is command mode. By default, it opens on the command mode. And how to go to insert mode? If you want to go to insert mode, you need to use insert key. I press insert key. The moment I press insert key, at the bottom you can see as insert. Now can you see insert? This helps you to understand that it is in insert mode. In insert mode, you can make any changes whatever you want. Look at this. I'm changing the cursor. I want to remove this spelling mistake. I want to rectify this. Okay, I can add some content whichever you want. I can add the contents whatever I want, and then once you make some changes, you have to come back to command mode. Escape is key to come back to command mode. Now you're in which mode? You don't need to doubt it. The moment if you're not getting insert here, that means you are in the command mode. Once you're in the command mode, if you want to save and quit, :WQ to save and quit. I have modified the file. As the name suggests, editor, I'm able to edit the file. If you want to confirm, cat followed the file name. Did I edit the file? Previously it was TOT. Now I have edited the file. I have included additional lines. Are you understanding? Using editor, whenever you want to make some changes in the file, you have to use editor. The best editor is VI editor. In VI editor, by default, the mode is command mode. You have to go to insert mode, make some changes, and come back to command mode and save and quit. As simple as that. Okay. The basic editor, the best editor in Linux is VI editor. You can use insert key or you can use I to get into insert mode. :WQ to save and quit. Quit exclamation to exit without saving. You want to close the file without saving the changes. Okay, exclamation to forcefully exit without saving the file. The default mode of VI editor is command mode. Escape key is used to come out of the insert mode back to command mode. In the command mode, some commands will work. We have a command :D to delete a line. We have a command :Y to copy a line. We have a command P to paste the line. These are some commands. For example, I want to delete this line. Okay, :D is a command to delete the line. So I'll show you. Look at this. VI file name. The file gets opened in which mode? Obviously command mode. Which line you want to delete? Let's say you want to delete this particular line. Last but one line, you need to delete it. Okay, keep the cursor in that particular line. What is the command? We have a command :D. We have a command :D to delete. So have you observed? I have deleted. I want to delete this line also. I use :D again. Deleted. :D is to delete. Now I want to save and quit: :WQ to save and quit. Cat followed with F1. So are you able to delete the file? So there are some commands which will work. More than commands, copy to copy a line :Y. I want to copy the thank you line. Look at this. VI followed with the file name. I want to copy the thank you line. Right now my cursor is already blinking on the thank you line. So I copy it. I have copied it and I want to paste it. P to paste. See, I'm pasting the line. Wherever you want, you can paste it. So you can paste it here. Got it? So like this, you can paste it. So these are some commands, more than commands, :WQ to save and quit. More than commands, you should be able to go to insert mode. Commands we don't much use, but you should be able to edit the files. You can edit the files. You need an editor. In Linux, the popular editor is vEditor. Clear about this? Perfect. You get the course completion certificate also. Okay, perfect. Yum for Red Hat. Yes, Naveen, you are right. Let's come back. So we also now know how to use the editor in Linux. With this, we have completed the Linux part. With this, we have completed the Linux part. We have completed the Linux part. Before moving on, let's have a quick question. This time it's Sabarish. Hi, Sabarish.
Hi, sir.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very fine. I have spoken to you before also.
Yes.
I wanted to know what is pipe once again because it was not clear here. I had a network issue. Can you give a short explanation?
Pipe is used to run two commands, two or more commands. Okay. Whenever you want to run multiple commands at once, we use
Like a
pipe
script
commands.
mode, sir.
It's not script mode. It's just commands. You need to run some multiple commands. In that case, we use pipe. Okay.
Okay.
So, can you tell me word count command what it will do?
What, sir?
WC command. Do you remember?
Word count commander, sir. That I guess I was not there in that part. I started from apt get and
Please
all. I
go
was there.
through the recording. Please go through
Yeah,
the
okay.
recording. Okay. It's pretty simple. It will execute the first command and result of the first command will be used as used for the second command. Go through the video. Definitely you'll understand. Okay.
Yeah,
Savarish?
okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I was from
Because
apt.
time management is very, very important because we have fixed timelines, isn't it, Sabarish? Okay. This is very simple. You can go through the recording.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. What else? Sabarish, how was your
Yeah, nothing else, sir. Your classes are really useful. I attend morning and evening DevOps and
okay.
AWS.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
Stay focused. Thank you. Jayasri. I can see your hand raised, Jayasri. You have any question?
Sir, in Windows, Ubuntu will be installed, sir.
Windows is an operating system. Okay.
Mm.
Ubuntu is also an operating system. You cannot install operating system on top of operating system. Okay. Clear?
Okay, in which
In
Ubuntu
such
will
case, you need to use VMware. In case if you want to install it, but why do you want to install it on your personal laptop? Whatever the environment you
Okay.
want, you can create it on AWS, isn't it? So how did I get this Linux? How did I get this Linux environment? I have not created on my personal laptop, isn't it? I have created Linux on.
Okay.
Isn't it? So whatever the environment you want, go ahead and create it in AWS and connect it and play around. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
In AWS, only Ubuntu will be installed, sir.
Yeah, it's not installed. We create Ubuntu machine.
We create
Yes,
Ubuntu.
you are
Okay.
right. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Next. Let's move on to jump into the tools of DevOps. We are getting into the first tool of DevOps that is called as Git. Okay. If anybody asks you what is Git, that's very important. We are now getting into the first tool of DevOps that is called as Git. Okay. If anybody asks you what is Git, what should be your answer? If anybody asks you what, this is the first tool of DevOps we are getting in. If anybody asks you what is Git, your answer should be Git is a version controlling tool. Okay. It is also referred as source code management tool, SCM tool. Git is referred as version controlling tool. Git is also referred as source code management tool. So help you try to understand by looking at the terminologies, you should be able to get some understanding, basic understanding. Git helps you to manage different versions of the source code because it is version controlling. It manages some versions of the code as well as it helps you to manage the source code. So it's something related to source code. By looking at the terminologies, you should be able to understand some part of it. Source code management tool. It manages source code. Version controlling. It maintains different versions of the source code. Now you got the answer for the first question. Now you got the answer for the first question. What is Git? Your answer for the first question is Git is version controlling tool as well as it is referred as source code management tool. Let's learn more about Git. Git is referred as version controlling tool, and as you have mentioned, it is also referred as source code management tool. What does version controlling tool help you? Version controlling systems are nothing but version controlling tools help you to manage the software team, which helps the software team to manage changes to the source code over time. Now tell me, who will develop the source code? Tell me, who will develop the source code? You're right, obviously developers. Developers create the source code. Code created by the developers, that's called a source code. If it is a Java developers, they develop the Java code, public, static, void, main, open the brackets, close the bracket. That's a Java code. That's a source code. Code created, code written by the developers is source code. If it is .NET developers, .NET code. If it is Python developers, Python code. If it is C++ developers, C++ code. That's most important. Code development is obviously the responsibility of the developers. So version controlling, when developers changes the code, because clients keep on changing the requirements. Clients give us requirement 1 today, next day requirement 2, next day requirement 3. When clients keep on changing the requirements, as per the requirements, developers keep on changing the source code. When there are too many changes in the source code, it is very difficult to manage the source code manually, practically impossible. Managing the source code is very, very difficult. For us to maintain a small resume, you are creating a 4 pages of resume, you are modifying the resume. That means you have previous version of your resume and current version of resume. Again, if you modify after a couple of months, again, it will be a new version. Just for managing resumes, we feel confused. But developers, managers should able to manage source code. When client changes the requirements, as per the requirement, developers change the source code. When developers change the source code, it's very important to manage different versions of the source code. They depend on tool. They cannot manage it manually. They have to depend on tool. The best tool which helps you to maintain different versions of the source code is Git. For almost all the software projects, the source code is like a crown of jewels. It's a precious asset. Most important point of the project is what? Code. What is the most important value of a project is the source code. If the source code is lost, everything is lost. What will be your answer to the client? It could be hacked or it could be encrypted. It is attacked with some malware or virus. So what will be your answer to the client? Isn't it? So most important asset in a project is the source code, whose value should be most protected. The version controlling systems, VCS, version controlling systems are also referred as source code management tool. Most widely used, most modern and widely used source code as well as version controlling system in the world is Git. Git is most #1 source code management tool, #1 version controlling tool. Git is mature, actively maintained, open source tool, free tool. All the DevOps, the best point is all the DevOps are open source tools. 90% of the DevOps tools are open source. So open source tool and developed by Linus Torvalds in the year 2005. When this tool was developed? In the year 2005. By Linus Torvalds, he is none other than creator of Linux operating system kernel. The person who is involved in Linux operating system kernel, the same person is involved in developing this most popular tool called as Git. Next point. Types of version controlling, important from the interview point of view. There are 2 types of version controlling tools available in the market. There are 2 types of version controlling tools available in the market. One is called as centralized version controlling. The other one is distributed version controlling. 2 types of version controlling tools are available in the market. Centralized version controlling, distributed version controlling. What does Git falls under? Git is a distributed version controlling. Centralized version controlling is an outdated one. Nowadays, nobody is using centralized version controlling. There's no meaning in discussing between centralized and distributed because centralized is not even used. The latest type of version controlling is distributed version controlling. Obviously, Git falls under the distributed version controlling. Okay, so what is distributed controlling with this is deals with repository. In distributed, we have something like central repository as well as local repository. You don't need to worry about this. So Git is there are two types of version controlling, and Git falls under distributed version controlling. Okay. Okay. Before getting into practicals of Git, I cannot start because I was too I was too positive. I thought I can complete all this, but our focus is to whatever we are learning, we should be learning in a natural pace. So probably we cannot complete all these points, and I don't want to stop in between when I'm explaining about Git. Okay, I cannot. We have only 7 to 8 minutes of remaining. That cannot be enough. That is not enough to cover all these points. So I don't want to start practicals of Git in today's session. So we will not start. So you understood Git is version controlling and source code management tool. What is Git? How can we manage different versions of the source code? Practicals of Git will not start today. We'll start it in our tomorrow session. Meanwhile, I'm getting lots of messages saying that you're not part of WhatsApp groups again. I already have shared the WhatsApp group, but there are too few people who are joining a little late. So they are not having information about the WhatsApp group. They're directly connecting using Zoom link. So I just want to share the WhatsApp group link one more time. Do not join the duplicate groups. If you're not part of the WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group of this particular batch. Okay, and I'm sharing this WhatsApp group information in the chat box. Okay. If you're not part of WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group using this link. Do not join the WhatsApp group. Who are already in the WhatsApp group, please do not join the duplicate groups. Okay. Next point. The meeting link is changed. Right from day one, you're joining using the same meeting link. Tomorrow, the meeting link will be changed. You will receive a meeting link to your email. You have to join the tomorrow session using the new meeting link. Okay. Tomorrow, you have to join using the new meeting link. Meeting link will be mailed to your email addresses. Okay, we all have received your email addresses. To your email addresses, the meeting link will be provided. You have to join using the new meeting link. So these are the two important points to be noted. So before getting on, Ashwant Dara. How are you doing?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, your session was really good. I was from a QA background where I'm working in the last 10 years.
Okay.
And I also maintain a Scrum teams, which is also a DevOps, but I don't work anything on that team.
Okay.
But we have a Scrum team which I manage the things how to proceed for every releases.
This particular knowledge helps you to have a quick, more easy understanding communication with the Scrum team. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So I hope you feel day by day more comfortable with respect to terminologies, with respect to actual need for each and every tool, where exactly developers will get into use of this particular tool. You'll enjoy more and more, Ashwant. Okay.
Yeah, every day we used to listen all the topics which you are telling, but I don't know what exactly they are. I don't know what exactly GitHub is, what exactly the PR is, and all those things, because we don't have any hands-on knowledge of that.
Now you will understand day by day, Ashwant. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one small thing which I wanted to know from you is you are creating Linux machines and you are executing all these commands and all those things. But can you also throw some light where exactly we use this in the real time, right? You are telling different commands. Right?
You have to wait because we are just entered into DevOps. Okay, so actually clients use the environments. I hope you know the development instance, QA instance, Ashwant, and the production instance. Previously, it was used to maintain on-premises by the operations team, isn't it? By having their own data centers. Now it's not the case. The clients are moving to cloud. So in such cases, they will be using these kind of instances. You will understand more and more once we get into the tools like Maven and Jenkins, Ashwant. Okay.
You mean that all the instances which we have in the real time will be installed on one of the Linux machines in this, right?
Yeah, it will be installed on Linux machine and not in our server, not on premises server. It will be on cloud premises. Okay.
It means that the development which were done doesn't depend on which environment we host.
It doesn't.
Suppose we are developing something on the Microsoft platform like .NET. That doesn't impact if you put that in a Linux machine, right?
Doesn't
It
impact.
will work. Okay.
No, it will work. Yes. Generally, servers will be always on Linux, isn't it, Ashwant?
Yeah.
Okay, it works. Okay. No,
Okay.
they are platform independent. Okay. It'll be more clear when we learn about Jenkins and Maven, Ashwant. Okay. Anything more, Ashwant? You're
No.
from which location?
I'm from Hyderabad. I work for a European company
Okay,
where it's offshore development.
Good that you are having more interaction with the Scrum team. Slowly, you will be. I
Yes.
recommend you to get into the Scrum team. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ashwant. Thank you for your time. Mastan, how are you?
Hi, sir. Is it audible?
Yeah, you are very clear.
Yeah, how are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. My question is like, if the machine is continuously running on the Linux, so it will be like billable?
Yes. Yeah, coming back to this point. Probably who are completely new to AWS may have this question. Okay. Mastan, we have created AWS account. Isn't it? Day one, I have shown you how to create a new AWS account,
Yeah.
right? The AWS account, what we have created is a free tier account. Do you remember?
Okay.
It was a basic free account.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
This free account comes with some limitations. Okay. So when you exceed the limitations, you get the bill. Okay. For example, generally learners, what they do. So now the machine is running. Generally we sign out. When you sign out, where the machine is background continuously running, isn't it? So there's a limitation. You can run approximately 300 hours of EC2 machine is free. Okay. If you're running more than 300 hours in a month, okay, then you will be attracting the bill. Okay. So that's the reason it's always good to stop the instances. In fact, it's always good to terminate the instances whenever you're not using. But Mastan, continue to discussion. If you want to see whether the bill is generated or not, okay, let's say you forgot it. Let's say after 3-4 days, you got to know that the instances are still running. You want to know whether the bill is generated or not. So can you see here, we have the search file.
Yes.
Here you have to search for the keyword called billing.
Okay.
When you search using the keyword called billing, when you select it, you will know whether the bill is generated or not. If the bill is generated, you will also know how much the bill is. So now, in my case, as I regularly start the I regularly use it, isn't it, Mastan? So I got how much of bill? 427 rupees is the bill which I have received it. So whenever you want to know whether the bill is received or not, and this 400 received, I also get the breakup. See, because of EC2 service, I got $4 of bill. Okay. Because of Route 53, I got $5.5. Elastic load balancing, I got $16. For data transfer, I got $4. So you also get the breakup. Okay. So this is how you need to check whether the bill is generated or not. Okay.
Yeah.
Bill gets generated, but you have to manually pay it. There is nothing called automatic deducting from your account. You have to manually pay it. Okay. So, but generally, if you make sure that whatever you are creating, if you stop it and if you terminate it, you will not get the bill. Okay. Even if you practice the entire DevOps also, you will not get the bill if you carefully utilize the free tier account. Okay. Mastan?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, just one small question.
Yes,
actually, I missed out like AWS. I'm joining that AWS chat also. So
morning
missed out,
6:30. Morning 6:30.
Yeah. I
Today
missed
we
out,
have discussed about the command line interface, right?
So missed out the classes, like starting classes. So just, I joined around the 10 o'clock. 10 class like that. So just want to check, is it like completely AWS administration? It will come under?
The AWS training which we are providing is AWS solutions architect role. Okay. That is nothing but a beginner to medium level role. Okay. Whoever wants to get into AWS, this is the first course you need to choose. So that's what we are learning, associate level course. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
That's more than enough, Mastan. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Before ending, one more questionnaire. This time Harita K. I can see your hand raised, Harita. You have to unmute and talk.
Hi, Sunil. Good evening.
Good evening, Harita. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Doing good. What about you?
Doing well, thank you. Yes, your question, please.
Are you going to share this running notes with us, sir?
These recordings and notes are shared to the paid candidates only. Okay.
Yeah, I have paid already.
Then you get it in the Google Drive. Okay.
But I am getting only recordings and this agendas PPTs only. I am not getting any running notes.
Because this notes which I have used, no, in case if I'm using it, you'll get it. For example, this notes I have used it,
Yeah,
so
this
you'll get
notes
it.
I must.
Oh, yeah, you'll get it. Whatever the notes which I'm using it, you'll get it. Okay. If I'm not using any notes, you will not get it. Okay.
Okay.
The last sessions, it was just a basics of Linux, right? I have not used any notes. I have directly typing it and then executing it. That's the reason you're not getting the notepad. In case if I'm using notepad, you will definitely get it, Harita. Okay.
Okay, Sunil. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Harita. May I know your experience?
Yeah, I have 2+ years of experience in functional testing. I'm new to AWS.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Harita.
Yeah, thank you, Sunil.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you for joining the session today. See you tomorrow with a new meeting link where our plan is to get into the practicals of Git. Until then, have a nice time. Thank you. Bye. Bye, everybody.